Board of Aldermen to order. Would you please rise and recite the Pledge of Allegiance with me?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Give you a moment to get back to your desk. And Mr. Clerk, could we have a roll call, please?
Alderman Bockelman. Here. Alderman Dorhoff. Present. Alderman Milner.
Present.
Alderman Reese.
Present.
Alderman Miller.
Here.
Alderman Dickerson.
Here.
Alderman Davidson.
Present.
Alderman Turner.
Here.
Mayor Bowman.
Present, and we do have a quorum. We have some ceremonial matters this evening. Down. I'm going to take them just a little out of order and do the proclamation for Police Week first. We still have a couple of people coming for the proclamation for the Nursing Home Week. So if I could have the police department come in. Good evening. What a fine looking group you are. Come on in. All right, I'd like to share this proclamation with you. Whereas the Congress and President of the United States have designated May 12th through 18th of 2019 as National Police Week, and whereas the members of the Harrisonville Police Department play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the citizens of Harrisonville, and whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their police department, and that members of our police department recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression or intimidation. And whereas the Police Department of Harrisonville has grown to be a modern and scientific law enforcement agency which unceasingly provides a vital public service, now, therefore, on behalf of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Harrisonville, I, Mayor Judy Bowman, call upon all citizens of Harrisonville and upon all patriotic, civil, and educational organizations to observe the week of May 12th through 18th of 2019 as Police Week, with appropriate ceremonies in which all of our people may join in commemorating police officers, past and present, who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities have rendered a dedicated service to their communities, and in doing so have established for themselves an enviable and enduring reputation for preserving the rights and security of all citizens. I further call upon all citizens of Harrisonville to observe Wednesday, May 15th, 2019, as Peace Officers Memorial Day, in honor of those peace officers who through their courageous deeds have lost their lives or have become disabled in the performance of duty. And let us recognize and pay respect to the survivors of our fallen heroes. Thank you all so much. Detective Blakely, would you like to say something?
I'm good, thank you.
Chief, will you come up and join us?
Squeeze it, guys.
Come on, everybody together.
Wait.
Squeeze in as much as you can. All right, I think that'll work. All right, big smiles. 1, 2, 3. There we go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again. I just get a little choked up when I do this because these men mean so much to me. My involvement with them through the VIPS program just makes it near and dear to my heart. So. Okay, fire department here. a busy month. You know, it's National Nurses Month, it's National Teachers Month, it's Fire Month, it's Police Month, it's Nursing Home Month, so everybody gets to be celebrated in May. All right, come on over here. So I would now like to read a proclamation about National EMS Week. Whereas Emergency Medical Services Week will be celebrated throughout our nation May 19th to the 25th, and whereas emergency medical technicians and paramedics provide critical services through first response, treatment, transport, prevention, and intervention, and whereas the quality care provided may affect a patient's journey throughout their course of treatment, and whereas these professionals may risk personal danger when entering unstable environments to deliver urgent and essential care, often under immense pressure and with little thanks, and whereas the Harrisonville Emergency Services Department employs professional firefighters who are also certified emergency medical technicians or paramedics. Now therefore, on behalf of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Harrisonville, I, Mayor Judy Bowman, call upon all citizens of Harrisonville and upon all patriotic, civil, and educational organizations to observe the first week of May 19th through 25th, 2019 as EMS Week, and to honor these first responders whose bravery and selfless dedication has enhanced the quality of life we all enjoy. Congratulations. Where do you want us?
Just there in the center.
Okay.
Maybe slide down just a little bit there. Yep. All right. Big smiles. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Is everybody here now from the nursing homes? Chris is here, and ABC is here. Is Crown Care here? No. Golden Years is here. Okay. Well, we'll see that they get theirs. All right, let's have Debbie and Chris and Lori. Y'all want to come up front? We actually have 4 nursing facilities here in town, and we're very, very fortunate to have them. So this is Lori from ABC. Hello. And Chris.
Yes.
Good to meet you.
Okay,
And
nice to
Debbie
meet you.
from Golden Years. So I'm going to read the proclamation. I have a copy for each of them, but I'm only going to read it once. Aren't you glad? National Skilled Nursing Care Week. Whereas our community is stronger because we honor and respect our elders and citizens of any age with physical or intellectual disabilities who reside in skilled nursing centers in Harrisonville, Missouri. And whereas these citizens have made important contributions to the success and growth of our town, and whereas National Skilled Nursing Care Week provides an opportunity for our community to recognize the role of skilled nursing care centers in caring for seniors and individuals with disabilities. And whereas skilled nursing centers are holding events in observance of National Skilled Nursing Care Week, May 12th to 18th, using this year's theme, Live Soulfully. And whereas I urge all citizens to visit a loved one, friend, or neighbor being cared for in any setting and offer a kind word and a personal touch to show your continuing support. And now therefore do I, Judy Bowman, Mayor of the City of Harrisonville, declare the week of May 12th to 18th, 2019 as National Skilled Nursing Care Week and adopt the theme of Live Soulfully, our way of honoring all citizens who reside at a skilled nursing or post-acute care center. Thank you all for what you do. You guys want to just step back for just a minute? And we'll go for Lori.
One at a time.
Yeah. Debbie?
Ma'am, if you could stay here, and we'll do like a group
Yes.
at the end.
Yes.
There we go.
Now you can come back.
Okay. All right, everybody now. Big smile. 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do. All right, so that ends ceremonial matters. We're going to move on now to public participation. I would invite the general public, if you have any comments you want to share with the board, to step forward at this time.
It's okay if I just, this is, what we're kind of speaking on is the flood alert system.
Okay.
And this is what this is, and I wanted to post pictures of kind of how quick it rose, if that's okay. I want to start at both ends.
Sure. Step up to the microphone first
And then.
and give your
okay.
name and address for the record. And then you can pass out what you have and read whatever your notes are.
Okay.
That'll be fine. And I'll just ask you to,
Oh, kind of. 105.
and I would just ask you to limit your comments to 4 minutes or less.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
And say your name and address into the microphone so that the audience can know who you are.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Want her.
And
Hi, everybody. I'm Pina Murphy. I live over in the Walker subdivision, and I know not everyone can see it, but they're going to pass it by. But this past week, on April 30th, we almost flooded again. And it happened so quick that it took from the minute it left the creek behind our home, it took under 11 minutes to reach. And that very first picture is my fence. And the next two pictures are of the creek was still flowing. So, and I wanted to thank real quick the mayor and Gary Davison. They came Gary was already there and had kind of been monitoring. So when I had contacted him and said, it's going to flood, we think it's going to flood again, we got to get people warm, can you come? He said, I just left there. And I said, I just got a call, it's flooding behind our house. So what we are here tonight is we wanted to see about trying to get some type of flood warning system. There is a city, Neon Valley, that has a siren that kind of goes off. If it's going to possibly flood, it sounds for 90 seconds. And then if it's, definitely flooding, people need to evacuate, it floods for 3 minutes. Now my concern is people are just used in our area to tornado sirens. So obviously we don't want them going downstairs, because that kind of defeats the purpose. But like last time it flooded in 2016, it was in the middle of the night, and we didn't have no warning. And the sad thing about it is if the families on the other side of the street on Walker, not on our side of the street, that sees the creek coming, they would have had no way to know if we wouldn't have got out and walked it and warned our own neighbors. And that is scary to me, because I find that personal items can be replaced. We lost so much last time, and we live in fear, but lives cannot. We have a house at the end of the street that houses some kind of elderly handicap. It took about 6 to 11 minutes to flood up to our backyard. And no one realized it had flooded up where we was, because the creek was actually, and you see in that second picture, still flowing. So that's what Gary was like, I was just out there. It's still flowing. I was like, Gary, I got 2 calls. Because I was at the Mexican restaurant. I said, I'm on my way back. I haven't got to see it, but they said it's flooded. By the time I got there, it was crazy. So we wanted to see if there is something that we could do to implement to where people are alerted to the flooding, especially in our area. It's happening so frequent and so often. We've got to do something to warn the families, to where like they can kind of know, we need to be watching for it and then immediately get out. So that's kind of what we was here tonight to do. And then also to see about, we know that I think it was October, there was supposed to be something from the Corps of Engineer to where there was going to be new funding or something, and Tammy was supposed to be able to do that, my other neighbor, but she wasn't able to make it. So I was just kind of going to wing it for her, but I didn't have none of her information. And just to see if they had found out anything about that or the new funding to kind of implement. We just kind of thought this warning system, because maybe it would cost the city nothing except to have someone there kind of watching, and to sound the sirens that we already have, but we didn't know what we could do.
And what city did you referenced a city?
It's Leon Valley. They have the website and they have their whole flooding system. Because they're not actually, it's not in a flood zone, but there's different areas that the siren sets up that they actually warn. It just floods a couple different areas and us, and I don't know if the park, how that gets, but definitely in our area, because it comes up into the people's homes almost immediately. So we just kind of wanted to give the people a warning,
Good idea.
So
Excellent idea.
that's kind of what we're just about to do. So
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board? Come ahead. State your name and address into the microphone for us.
My name is Brooklyn Maynard. I live on 101 West Walker. Pina is a neighbor of mine. I just kind of wanted to piggyback off of her idea that a siren would be absolutely the way to go as in letting our neighbors. So when our homes flooded and it destroyed multiple houses, a large number of residents that lived there during this time left the area. So now it's new neighbors. So this April 30th it was, Pine and I literally were running down the road and walking to people's houses and letting them know in the rain and the lightning, like there's potential that all of your stuff is about to be ruined. We've seen it happen twice within the last couple of years. So my thought is that if we could use the siren system that's in place, that would act as a warning, but I also think we need to use the resources that we have through social media, because I know there's a very active page for like the police department and just the city itself, and I know your page, Ms. Bowman, that just kind of to let people know, because anytime you hear a siren, you think tornado as it stands. So if we could get it out there, like there is going to be sirens warning that there is uprising happening at the park or the Muddy Creek and whatnot, just kind of as an extra level of information to them. I just think that could be really useful. I was also curious, I'm not sure as it stands now, is there some kind of citywide text alert system? I know there's a county-wide and a national-wide for severe weather, but I didn't know if there was something that the city could do as far as a subscription service for texting. Like if I wanted to subscribe and find out severe weather events or just even events happening in Harrisonville, could we subscribe to them? That's another idea I was wondering if there's any possibility of doing. But just some thoughts for you. Thank
Those
you.
are great ideas.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brooklyn.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? All right, well, we'll move to approval of the minutes. First of all, the Board of Aldermen regular meeting, April 15th, 2017.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion from Alderman Milner and a second from Alderman Dickerson to approve the minutes of the Board of Aldermen from April 15th. Any discussion? Any corrections? All in favor of approving those?
Aye.
Any opposed? Approved unanimously. And now the minutes of the Board of Aldermen special meeting, April 17th, 2019.
Move to approve. Second.
A motion from Alderman Dickerson, a second from Alderman Turner. Any discussion or questions or corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes are approved unanimously. Moving on to our agenda items, Mr. Welch.
The mayor is wishing to appoint a couple of folks to, or reappoint some folks as well. So first up would be Sandy Franklin. She'd like to appoint her to the park board. And with Alderman Miller moving from being on the park board and now is on the council, and he cannot serve on the board at the same time, he will be the alderman liaison to the park board. I also believe you had the reappointments of, let's see, it's the Historic Preservation Commission for Bill Woods and Julie Cooper. And I believe that you also wanted to make some other appointments tonight, other board members to be representatives on as the council liaison. But, so the ones that are going to be up for your approval are Sandy Franklin for the park board, and for Bill Woods and Julie Cooper on the Historic Preservation Commission.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion from Alderman Dickerson and a second from Alderman Miller to accept the appointments of Sandy Franklin to the Park Board and the reappointment of Bill Woods and Julie Cooper to Historic Preservation. Is there any discussion? All in favor of that motion?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Very good. We'll appoint, congratulations, Sandy Franklin is in the audience over there. Welcome to the Park Board. I'm also making appointments of alderman liaisons to our citizen boards and commissions. The role of the alderman liaison is to report back to the board what activities that particular board or commission has handled since the board last met. And as Mr. Welch has indicated, I'd like to appoint Alderman Miller as the liaison to the park board. He served on the park board for 10 years, and he's very knowledgeable and very passionate about the parks, so I'd like to do that. And then I also would like to appoint Alderman Turner as alderman liaison to planning and zoning. And then I'm also wanting to appoint Gary Davidson as alderman liaison to historic preservation. All right, moving on to Stacy Cox and the 5K. Chief Hooper.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the board. If you don't mind, I'll address this young lady's question about the alert system or notification.
Yes.
Harrisonville doesn't have one, but the Cass County ESB, Emergency Services Board, has what they call Everbridge. And you can go to the Cass County Everbridge or Cass County ESB and Google it, and it will pop up, and you can sign up by your address, tell it what alerts you want to have, whether it's storms or hail or flooding, and it will alert you. So that might be something to start with, and I'm sure the city's going to look at the other options you brought forward. So, Cass County ESB. Before you tonight is the Stacy Cox Memorial. This has been going on for several years. They're requesting to do it October 12th, 8 a.m. till 12 p.m. They do it at the high school. They run out to and into the park and then come back to the high school. So we are recommending approval. We have had no problems with that in the past. The only thing they're requesting is somebody to lead them, and we'll hit either the VIPs up to do it or have a non-duty patrolman do it. Staff recommends approval.
I have a motion from Alderman Miller and a second from Alderman Dorhoff to approve the request for the Stacy Cox Memorial 5K Walk and Run. Is there any discussion or any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. That passes unanimously to approve the Stacy Cox Memorial 5K. All right, Chief, you're still up.
Second thing on your agenda tonight is a new event to Harrisonville, the new band instructor. I think he's been there a few years. Mr. Johnson is requesting to have a band competition, high school marching band competition at Memorial Stadium. We have no control over that. That's on school grounds. He is asking for a couple street closures, which does involve us. He's asking for Highland Street to be closed between Washington and Mechanic, and then Finney Street, which is the school, or the little road just next to the middle school on the north side. We do not see any problems with that. We met with him, we as in Superintendent Jacobs and I, and had a nice conversation. We're going to be heavily involved. I think the VIPs are probably going to get involved with it. But we're going to try and help them out as much as we can with traffic control. And we'll probably have a couple SROs around the area that day as well. So their date is October 26th. They're hoping to have 10 to 14 bands. Should go from about 11 a.m. until 6 p.m. Never had this before, but we are recommending approval. Entertain any questions.
Move to approve.
Second.
I guess that means there are no
Sounds like I
questions.
talked too much.
I have a motion from Alderman Dickerson and a second from Alderman Davidson to approve the request for the band competition 2019 event permit. All in favor of that?
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes unanimously, approving the band competition 2019 event. Moving on to Council Bill 27.
Council Bill 27 is a resolution by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Harrisonville, Missouri, authorizing and directing the city administrator to enter into an agreement with the Maurer Law Firm to contract as interim city attorney and establishing the effective date thereof. First reading of Welch Resolution, Council Bill 27.
Mr. Welch?
City needs to engage with an interim attorney with the resignation of Mr. Fairfield, and Mr. Maurer and his team have agreed to do that. On a temporary basis, we will have to go out for an RFQ to look for a new city attorney on a more permanent basis.
Any questions on this resolution?
I have a question.
Okay.
On your email, it said that Mr. Fairfield had resigned, and then in his letter, he had said that you asked him to resign. I'd like to know the reason why you would ask him to resign. I thought he was doing a very good job.
I did request his resignation and I did receive his resignation. And I stated in that same email the reasons for doing so. There were some advice that he gave the board that was questionable, and I was concerned with the legal fees that he'd been charging the city since he'd been our attorney.
Because the legal fees were going to incur now less than what he charged?
Yes, significantly.
Okay. Way to go, Steve.
Happy to help, Alderman.
So, just
Alderman?
when we go for the
RFQ?
RFQ, how long a process does that typically take?
I'd say do it correctly, we're looking at probably 2 to 4 months.
Okay.
4 months on the outside.
Okay.
And I'll mention that when those applications do come in, I want all the board to be involved in the interviews of that city attorney. Any other questions?
Yeah, at what point will the city publish that request for qualifications?
We're still gathering we're trying to get a number of those together that other cities have used, put it together for what we think works best for Harrisonville, and then publish it. We should be able to do that in 2 weeks. Yeah, I would say by the 1st of June.
Okay, thank you. So we should have the application process ready and put it out there? And where all does it go out to?
So we will post it, we'll put it on the website, Facebook, all that. We will advertise it in the paper of public record, which is the Cass County Democrat. We will send it to 5 law firms in the Kansas City area. If anybody has any recommendations, I will send it to them. That's what we're required to do by code. Now, anything beyond that, if there's other avenues that we need to include that, other publications, we'd be happy to include it.
I mean, is this anything, and I don't know the answer to this, is this anything that, like, putting it out there with MML, and they pop that out to areas around us that might bring in more applications?
I don't know if people want to search for it on their openings, they could probably find it there. Yeah, we can include them.
The wider the spread, the
Yep.
more we'll get.
That'll give us some time to look and see what other publications, other websites or groups that we want to advertise with.
Any other questions, discussion? I'd entertain a motion.
Move to approve. Second.
I have a motion from Alderman Milner and a second from Alderman Reese to approve Council Bill 27. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay, we'll pass Council Bill 27 and it becomes Resolution 021. Thank you, Mr. Mauer. Welcome back.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to the fiscal year 2018 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. Marcella, do you want to introduce Michael?
Presented this evening is the 2018 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. Mr. Michael Keenan will give you a brief synopsis of what is included in the report. I think he's passed out some slides he can pass through. We hired Cochran, Head, and Vick last year after going out with RFP for audit services, so this is the second year that they've completed the report. Mr. Keenan?
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, members of the board.
Welcome, Michael.
Again, my name is Michael Keenan. I'm with the firm of Cochran, Head, Vick and Company, here to present the results of the financial audit for the fiscal year ending December 31, 2018. Should have received 3 different documents in your board packet, the larger one being the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. Also, a single audit report related to the city's expenditures of federal awards, as well as the required communication and management letter, which outlines some of the findings and suggestions, as well as required topics that we have to discuss. I've included a PowerPoint presentation handout to help facilitate going through these reports, and then I'll be happy to attempt to answer any questions you may have. On page 2, a little bit about Cochran, Head, Vick, certified public accountants. We've been serving Missouri and Kansas since 1975. A peer review, we also have, similar to an audit, we have an outside CPA firm come in and review our quality control standards. That happens every 3 years. We have been awarded the highest rating as a result of that review. We're members of various professional organizations. AICPA is American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. We also belong to the Government Audit Quality Center, as well as employment benefit plans, as well as other qualifications. Page 3, just a little pictures of the engagement team. Again, David Cochran is the engagement partner of this engagement. Myself and Brian Holst are the senior managers, and then Clint Richardson and Jared Hobby were the staff person and individuals that were out here on a day-to-day basis. Again, the scope of the audit is a comprehensive annual financial report. Again, that contains 3 sections. The introductory section, the financial section, which includes your financial statements and notes, and also a statistical section, which is in the back of this document. It gives some very good trend information on the city of Harrisonville for 10-year periods for various required information that goes in the statistical section. And also the single audit report, again, that's related to the scheduled federal expenditures. The city had one major federal program this year that relates to the loan proceeds from the state revolving loan fund. A portion of those drawdowns related to the 2017 water and sewer bonds are federally funded. And again, that was your major program that we audited and had no findings. On page 5, a little bit about our responsibilities as the auditors is to conduct our audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards, as well as governmental auditing standards and the uniform guidance. The uniform guidance is what governs the processes and audit requirements related to the single audit. Our responsibilities also include to plan and perform our audit to obtain reasonable but not absolute assurance that the basic financial statements are free of material misstatement. And we're also responsible to report on internal controls over financial reporting and on compliance with laws and regulations. On page 6, the Auditing Standards Board of the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, the AICPA, recommend that we communicate these matters to the governing board. Illegal acts, none came to our attention as a result of performing our audit procedures. Changes in significant accounting policies. During the year ended December 31, 2018, the city changed its accounting policies related to post-employment benefits as it implemented the new standard, government finance auditing standard, GASB number 75. And that relates to health care and payments of health care for retirees. That's a new footnote is on page 45. That resulted in an additional obligation to the city around $240,000 that had to be report spread across different funds. And all governments, cities that follow GASB and governmental financial reporting had to implement this new standard. Pleased to report that we had no difficulties or disagreements with management. We had full cooperation and access to the books and records. Page 7. Really, a financial and compliant audit really addresses 3 basic questions. Question 1, are the financial statements free of material misstatement? And we have issued an unmodified opinion that the financial statements are indeed fairly presented in all material respects. Unmodified, you may hear that clean opinion. Again, that's the best opinion that auditors can give to financial statements that are free of material misstatements. Question 2, are internal controls over financial reporting adequately designed and operating effectively? We identified certain deficiencies in internal controls that we consider to be a material weakness, and that relates to financial reporting. As we identified certain entries that were necessary to the financial statements, those entries were agreed upon by management and are included in these financial statements and have been posted to the city's records. And also, the city has put in their response to our recommendation as how to address that issue. The final question, does the city of Harrisonville comply in all material respects with finance-related laws and regulations? In our opinion, the city did, in fact, comply in all material respects with finance-related laws and regulations. Page 8, other management letter comments and suggestions for best practices and possible improvements in internal control. And we had a recommendation regarding accounts receivable, allowance for doubtful accounts, and also future accounting pronouncements. In reviewing the future accounting pronouncements, I don't see any of the new ones that are going to be in effect to have a significant impact as far as financial reporting in the city. The biggest one of those new ones is a change in recording and reporting of operating leases. Again, the city doesn't have a lot of those, but those now were reported as if they were financing related leases. They'll report an obligation on the city's financial records. But that standard is not going to be implemented to 2021. And certainly, CHV appreciates the opportunity to serve as the auditor for the city of Harrisonville, Missouri. Certainly, I'd like to thank Happy and Marcel and the city staff for assisting us in this engagement, providing us the information that we requested in a professional and timely manner. We had full cooperation, and it's a pleasure when you work with professionals that are able to assist you with your information you need to complete the audit. And I thank you, Marcel. Any questions that I might be able to answer?
Yes. First, I wanted to say that I think the appreciation thing goes both ways. I think that our staff appreciates the professionalism that you all display by the computer. And
Thank you.
that's a sort of a frightening thing to be audited, you know. and it makes you a little nervous, and these guys did a fine job. My questions are more just so I will have a more complete understanding. They're not critical at all.
Okay.
The first one actually is from Marcella. In her introductory letter, she stated, the city prepares a 10-year capital improvement plan, CIP, and goes on to say the projects are reviewed annually. I'm aware of the annual review. I'm not aware of a 10-year plan. Have we a copy of that for us?
You got that when we did the budget hearings last year?
And it's for the full 10 years?
Yep.
I couldn't find it in there. Maybe I can get another copy.
Okay, sure.
Okay, thank you. Okay. The next thing, and we have a packet. I'm not sure you have a packet. Do you have, like?
I have 3 documents.
Okay. Can we get him a packet? Because what I did, I cross-sectioned it to our packet numbers.
She went ahead and referred the pages,
Yeah, referring to those pages. Thank you.
Okay.
I didn't think about that when I wrote these down. The independent auditor's report states, we have audited the accompanying statements of the governmental activities, the business activities, discretely presented component unit, and then it goes on with more. What is the discretely presented component unit?
So let me go back. I believe that is the TIF plan. Let me go back to my notes. I believe that is I don't have the name of the TIF plan, but it has the $9 million note.
Okay.
Someone help me with, I can't
The
remember.
marketplace.
Marketplace TIF.
Yes.
Okay. So,
And that's displayed actually on page,
okay, it was just the identifying.
yeah, and I was looking in the notes, it should disclose what that is, but.
The component unit on page 39 of the report. What page it is on our packet.
Packet page 81.
There we go. Thank you, Abby.
It's Marketplace TIF. I'm sorry about not remembering the name.
Okay.
There's a lot of cities and a lot of
I
funds.
just looked and looked and looked at that, and I couldn't think what in the world that discrete thing was, so. Okay, going on to page 44, and this one there, and I think this is, I just don't understand the way this is worded. It's at the top of the page, it's the first paragraph. And it says, as described in note 12 to the financial statements in 2018, the city adopted a new accounting guidance, governmental accounting standard board statement number 75, accounting and financial reporting for post-employment benefits other than pensions. And then it says, our opinion is not modified with respect to this matter.
As I had mentioned, the city adopted GASB statement number 75. And the
that.
fact that they did that doesn't change our opinion. Our opinion is still unmodified.
Okay, your
It does not
okay.
modify
It's
the
not like
opinion
a
with
matter of
respect to this
following
matter.
rules.
It is something that needs to be disclosed within the body of the audit report, is when you change accounting policies or make significant prior period adjustments or changes in errors or something that may have been detected. That's why it's included in there. And that's the language that's included. It says it does not modify or change our unmodified.
Okay, thank you very much.
And didn't you say that other cities have also implemented this?
Every city that does financial reporting in accordance with GASB, Government Accounting Standards Board pronouncements, implemented GASB 75 when they were required to as well. And so, in most instances, it's caused an additional amount of obligations to be recognized. It's very similar to a couple years ago when they had the pension requirements that was implemented. That changed financial reporting for all governmental entities as well, and included a net pension liability for most. The city of Harrisonville happens to have a net pension asset, which means you have more assets and loggers that are available than you have liabilities at this point. And there's nice schedules in the RSI that show the trend of that over the last 4 years. And there will be 10 years worth of information on that as that becomes available.
Thank you very much. I will stop being a nuisance now.
Not at all. These are questions that I don't mind answering. They assist in the understanding of these financial statements. There's a lot of information, as you know, that's in there that you see monthly and quarterly, and it takes really a lot of effort by staff to come up with these calculations for these year-end amounts that are different than you're reporting on a month-to-month basis. Are there any other questions?
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
In the required communications and management letter,
Mhm.
and this may be a question for Marcella and not for you. Under financial reporting, material weakness, the issue was with the bank reconciliations, and management's response was that we would more closely review the bank reconciliations monthly. Marcel, my question was, who does that? Is that?
Debbie does those.
Okay. And then the second question I had, about uncollectible accounts. I know we went through the issue with the ambulance, and we took care of writing all that off. What is our write-off policy so that we don't get into that situation again?
That's our challenge, is the write-off policy needs to be developed and adopted, and has not been done on a regular basis. So staff and I are working to put that policy together, and we'll present that so that we can comply with the recommendations that the auditors have.
Okay. Any idea when that'll be done?
Between now and August, hopefully. I don't know, we got to put a budget in there someplace, so.
I understand.
But we will review them again this year like we did last year. That will happen, and I would like to have that policy adopted before that review happens.
Right,
So.
right. Okay. That's all I had. Anyone else have questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And I'll say if you do have questions later on, if you want to give me a call or email me, please don't hesitate to do that, and I'll respond to those questions. Sometimes those are easy to do one-on-one, but I don't mind at all.
Appreciate your work.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you. So we'll move on to Alderman and committee reports. Alderman Bachman. Alderman Dorhoff. Use your microphone.
Just want to congratulate all of our young adults on the graduating on Friday. I've got one, my last one. So I just want to tell them congratulations for their hard work and wish them the best for the future.
Alderman Milner.
I've got nothing.
Alderman Reese.
Just glad to be here.
Alderman Miller.
Just remind everybody about the statewide cleanup Friday and Saturday. Please take advantage of it.
That's it. Thank you for reminding that. Alderman Dickerson.
I'd just like to thank the people here about the flooding warning system. I think that's a great idea, and I wish we'd have thought of that a little sooner. Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Is that all?
That's all.
Alderman Davidson.
Nothing further.
Thank you. Alderman Turner.
Yeah, this weekend's citywide cleanup, brush and trash, both same time. Also, I believe it's our first jug in the trunk this Saturday. Everybody busy.
Thanks for reminding me about that. That's always a good time to have good conversation and find good bargains. Report from the city administrator, Mr. Welch.
So to add on to the waste cleanup, we have a number of people that have signed up, but we only have one group, the Elks, that have signed up to help residents. If you know of a group that wants to help, or individuals that will help clean up the brush that's in people's yards, let us know so we can put those people together. We've got a number that probably overwhelms what the Elks will be able to do over those 3 days.
Questions from the media? Anything for us, Dennis?
I would simply like to say off the top that I appreciate the opportunity to ask questions again. It used to be the common practice. And I don't know how I can follow up on an audit report, so I have no questions.
Speechless.
Thank you for being with us tonight. I'm sorry.
I think we've left out Thursday is also brush drop off from 10 to 7. Thursday to Friday, 10 to 7, Saturday, 8 to 5.
Harrison Park Park.
Very good, thank you so
It's
much.
in the park.
No, I don't know.
No, the brush drop off is in the
Oh, it's
park.
back at the park, yeah,
Yep.
okay, state park, okay.
Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at the park. Very good, thank you for that. Alderman Milner, did you have something for us?
I move we go into executive session for purposes of discussing confidential privileged matters of employee performance ratings pursuant to RS MOG 10.021.
I'm sorry, okay. I have a motion from Alderman Milner and a second from Alderman Dickerson that the board retire to executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Roll call.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Alderman Doppelman. Aye. Alderman Dorff.
Aye.
Alderman Milner.
Aye.
Alderman Reed.
Aye.
Alderman Miller.
Aye.
Alderman Dickerson.
Aye.
Alderman Davidson.
Aye.
Alderman Turner.
Aye.
Thank you. We're adjourned to executive session.